It's the JT the Brick Show.
This is the silver and black. This is the Raiders. This is a historic franchise. This is no ordinary job.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
I don't care if I offend somebody. If it isn't right, I'm going to stop practice. We're going to do it the right way.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we roll today. How we doing? Everybody ready? Football is back. Football is back. Yes, it is. It's a celebration as we have brand new Wi-Fi today. So let me enter the studio and welcome everyone in as we're live on YouTube at JT the Brick. We are all over the globe on LV Sports Network. You can follow us on the Raiders mobile app, which is a great place to find us. And just getting here and sound off like you got a pair. Today is a big day. We're here. We got to it. We are ready to roll. We are live, and football season starts today. It did not start yesterday. It did not start at OTAs. It did for the coaches and players. We'll get to that. It did not for us. No way, no how. It'll never start for me in May, June, and middle of July. Football starts today. Now, I think it's going to be a lot more intense. Week 1, Week 5, Week 11, all that. Hopefully, if the Raiders make a playoff run, it'll be something that we're talking about and we're going big on. But as we are starting today, football starts today, and you should have opinions from here on out. I don't care what your opinions are. They don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me. But I expect a level of excellence, a level of respect, a level of energy every day on this show. So if you're watching us on YouTube on the stream, we got some giveaways, some prizes during camp, some things we're doing. If you listen in, for 10 minutes. A lot of people, lunchtime in Vegas, can't listen. They got 10 minutes. They're going to lunch. They're going back. They listen after the show. They listen to the podcast. They listen to whenever they can. Whenever you're listening, thank you. We appreciate you. But this show is going on 29 years for the Raiders, 30 overall. And I know what I'm doing. And I got good days and I got bad days. I don't think bad radio shows, just days where I'm not in the mood for the product that we've seen the last couple of years. And I hope this is the beginning of a mass turnaround for the Raiders. Did you just hear the coach? If you didn't hear the coach, we're going to play it all. It's about 12 minutes. It's different. It's really different. And I like it. I've tried it all. I've had them all. Dennis Allen. I did that. I did John Gruden twice. Amazing interview. Pete Carroll, a kind man. Antonio Pierce, straight out of Compton, coming into the room, bouncing off the walls. Okay? I've done them all. Tom Cable. Oh, Cable guy. Hugh Jackson. All of them sat down with me one-on-one. And I've done it all since I've been here. And they all come in there, and they're all wanting to win, and they all have really good points about how to win. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We got a guy now that is proven but unproven as a head coach, and he's given us all the indications that he's ready to go. All the indications, if you heard that press conference, is he's ready to go. So give him the respect. Give him the respect. We are excited for him. We want him to be good. And we want everyone to get behind him and support him. Is that being a homer? Hell yeah. I'm an employee of the team. I'm an employee of the flagship radio station. We are behind the coach. No matter who the coach is, we're behind the coach. Okay? If you're buying a ticket somewhere, you want to boo, you do you. We're different. Okay, we're fans and we have radio shows and we have jobs, and there's reporters that claim they're reporters and they're, kind of down the middle. They're not. There's a lot of fans, too, who are reporters who cover this team. But journalists are different than radio hosts. And I could be a journalist tomorrow if I want. I was for 10 years. It's a good job. It's a good paying job for some. But those guys are fighting for their lives just like people in radio and TV and even at ESPN. So my point today is I want you to join us as football begins today. I want you to have a new philosophy as a Raider fan. Congratulations to my wife, who comes up with a lot of good ideas. She's a lot smarter than me. She got a master's degree at the University of Illinois. Okay, she's not smarter than me. She's 10 times smarter than me. And when she says, "What are you going to talk about today?" it's because I don't have a 3-hour show meeting with bagels and lox and a bunch of slappies running around telling me how great I am and building topics. This all comes from me. And the topic today is simple. It's a very simple topic, and we have a lot of sharp fans. How are you going to change this year as a fan in the preseason than the last couple of years? Oh, that's a great topic. That is an unbelievable topic. I can't believe I came up with it after a swim today. As I dove in and came up, and I said, oh, my God, that's a great topic. I can't wait to get on the radio. How have you, I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you, how are you going to change your attitude this year? What are you going to do? I mean, I'd like to know. I got open phone lines. I think it's a great topic. Are you going to do anything differently? Are you going to be a little bit different because you're burnt out from the last couple of years? Last couple of years have been hard. I mean, it has been hard for everybody because the season's been over so early that it just bred negativity. So even if you're super positive, right? We got callers that come on, Raider Dave, Raider 66, other guys that come on, and they're just positive. Raider Reggie, whoever they are, they call in and they're like, hey, man, we want to win. Thor in Summerlin, I want to win. Hey, man, we're 2-7. I want to win. Great. We need you, man. We needed those fans the last couple of years. But this is a new rodeo. There's a new season. And what we're looking for in the short term are fans who are on the same page in Raider Nation. Okay, I didn't grow up a Raider fan. I came to the Raiders and had to work to be accepted through the black hole, pay my dues, do a lot of heavy lifting early in my career to last this long. And I came up the right way. I came up with the Raiders through Fred Biletnikoff, George Atkinson, Al Davis, Rich Gannon. I came up through the Raiders with the greatest legends, but I also grew up with the Raiders in the parking lot at Oakland with the black hole, who were getting rained on, getting poured on, and hanging out under 2 tents, and having beers and loving the team. And then going into the lower bowl of the Oakland Coliseum in the rain and the wind and not moving and being all over the opposing team. Okay, a lot of things have changed. Yeah, Snow Raider just said in our chat on YouTube, clean slate. I love that. That's the focus of the monologue, brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo. Fight with Modelo for the greatest beer in America. So what I mean by this, it's great. A clean slate is exactly what I'm trying to get to today. How do you start this year with a clean slate and not be a pain in the ass and negative and be sky is falling? How do you do that? I don't know. I'm not that guy. I don't wake up every day hoping that the world sucks. I don't wake up every day saying I think the day is going to suck. I don't wake up every morning saying, oh, my God, we're going to lose to the Bills. You know me. I've never done that. I want to win every game. I hate tanking. I hate losing. I hate it with every fiber of me. Anytime the Yankees lose a game, I punch a wall. And I just came off a Knicks championship. It took me 53 years. You think you're in a drought in Raider Nation? Try being a Knicks fan. So with all that being said, as we open up the show, how are you going to change as a fan this year as we start the year? Are you more optimistic? Are you more excited? Are you ready to go? Are you going to be more lenient on the coaches to have more time to build this team? Are you going to be ready? Are you going to be ready, or is it none of my business? And you can say that too. Hey, JT, who the hell are you to tell me how to act? I'm going to do what I want to do. Great, you be you. You be you. I got some good experience on this. I'm just trying to help. So I just heard the coach in the car. I couldn't be there, obviously. The show starts here at noon. I'm here in studio, and I'll be at practice tomorrow all week. Practices are at 7:30 in the morning. Someone asked a great question. What does this mean, 7:30 in the morning? The good and the bad, and Klint Kubiak was really honest with the fact that he doesn't have the opportunity to have a meeting before practice. I thought that was really interesting because I'm not used to 7:30 practices, not me, but the team having to react to that type of schedule. I think that's daunting and demanding. It might be the best thing ever. We don't know. We thought that moving training camp to Costa Mesa was a good idea. I posted a picture. 2 years ago today, I was on the sidelines with Guy Fieri. And it was also the anniversary of my 23-hour ride to get home. Remember that story? It took me 24 hours to get back. It was the largest car accident since on the 15. It shut in both directions because a truck turned over with lithium batteries and it burned for 2 days. And I had to spend the night in Barstow, in a real creepy drive-in hotel that the door was paper thin, and it could have been a scene out of Friday the 13th, and my life could have ended then. That was 2 years ago today, right? That was a drive from hell. Yes, as we call it, my drive from hell. And I made the biggest mistake of my life. Guy Fieri was cooking. Everybody was going to cook and have dinner with Guy. And I said, I want to get out of here. Practice is done. I can get home and be with my family. And that was 2 years ago today. Oh, my God, was that a nightmare. I was caught in that. It was crazy. I'm getting interviewed live on the Las Vegas Review-Journal. There's helicopters flying over me. No one had water. There was no way to get off the road. No way. You couldn't go. And I figured out, and my wife got me a room in Barstow. God, it was without a doubt the biggest nightmare travel day of my life. 2 years ago today. But that being said, listening to the coach as I got in here, that was really cool. I can't wait to play it. We'll play. We got a couple of guests. Alex Eschelman will join us at the bottom of the hour. She was live at the press conference. I heard her ask a few questions. Jarrett Bailey, who covers the NFL, is going to join us today. He's got a couple of columns out that are very pertinent to the Raiders. I got 4 hours tonight. We got great guests on my show tonight from other NFL training camps, which is going to be a lot of fun. So today's the first day of school. And there's going to be some days that are going to be better than others. There are going to be days where we're loaded. We're just out of our minds with content. We're going to have to turn down people to have them on the show. It's going to be that busy. And then there's going to be days like today where, we're looking at the pool, but we're not jumping in the pool. But I want to know if you're all in on Kubiak like Cisco. I want to know what you're going to do this year that's been different from the past. Isn't that a fair question for me to ask? Because you got to admit, for you personally, the last 2 to 3 years have been really hard. I mean, I've never blocked more people in my life, and I'm not a type of guy who blocks people. I block people because they're cowards and they won't see me. So when they're saying stuff, they're mad at me. They're blaming me for the team throwing interceptions. I'm getting yelled at on Twitter because Gino couldn't play. It's amazing. You just block, you never see him again. It's the greatest thing you could ever do. Oh, you're a coward if you block people. No, it's actually the best thing you could ever do in your life is get those cowards and trolls to never be seen from again. And you never see them again because they don't exist. But the last couple of years have been hard because the team has been bad. Overall, they've been bad. They haven't been coached well. It got clipped from my show when I said the other day they haven't been taught well. And they haven't. There hasn't been a level of teaching that is back now, fact, not fiction. The coaches were not on the same page. That's admitted now. Everybody knows that Chip and Pete weren't on the same page. Hard to believe because Chip Kelly was the highest paid coordinator ever. And he wasn't on the same page with the coach, and the coach wasn't on the same page with him. Wow, that's a lot of money that went out the door. That's a lot of money that went out the door on coaches that they weren't on the same page. Now you know everybody's on the same page. Did you get a chance to watch Behind the Shield last night as it dropped? I don't know if you saw that. The Raiders put out Behind the Shield. I was the first ever host of Behind the Shield in Alameda almost 30 years ago. We were a ragtag group in one little closet-sized studio. Now they put up this behind the shield last night with drones and video footage, drones of the draft in Pittsburgh to Mendoza's house with the camera. I mean, it was crazy. It was unbelievable, right? And I watched the whole thing. It was about 40 minutes. And, oh, my God, it was good. It was a really in-depth look at John Spidtek's plan without Pete Carroll. Yeah, I just said it. It was a behind-the-scenes look at John Spidtek's draft without Pete Carroll and a couple of those coaches. And Pete Carroll I've complimented a million times. And John Spidtek did it the way he wanted to do it. He traded down. He got picks he wanted. You could just tell he was locked in. He was completely dialed in. It was outstanding, the behind-the-scenes footage. It also showed the new draft room, war room that they have and how they built it from scratch. And anybody's criticizing Mark Davis? Mark Davis could have told everybody, no, you go back to the old draft room with the whiteboard. Everybody bring your laptops and go pick a team. Mark Davis dropped millions of dollars, plural, into a draft room that has changed the NFL forever. Changed the NFL forever. Everybody's going to copy it. That's Mark's money. That's Mark Davis's money. And he puts it into the team, into the building with the other new owners. The other new owners that put their money there to go out and get the team, better technology, and maybe it helps. Right? So it was a really good show, and then it had Fernando landing and Fernando coming up. I had a brief cameo at the end when I introduced Fernando, which was cool. It was fun. It really was cool to watch what they did. So I suggest everybody go back and watch that. Because, being around the team, that's one of the best. If that doesn't win an Emmy Award, episode 2 of Behind the Shield, then just get rid of Emmy Awards. It was that outstanding overall. But I want to play Klint Kubiak now, but we just heard it. But a lot of people didn't hear it because radio is a different medium now. People listen at all different times. So I was telling Connor, who's here this week with me, that whenever players talk and coaches talk, I play it. You'd rather hear them than me. And I know a lot of people want to hear my takes and everything, but when I hear someone talk who's more important than me, which is pretty much every player, we're going to pretty much play that because that's good radio. Good radio is hearing what the players think live or close to live. And the coach spoke today. And I think, I'm going to be interviewing the coach again this year, which I take as a high honor. And, last couple of years, it's been tough because all the coaches valued every interview, and they came in prepared. We asked about the previous game. We previewed the other game. There's things that you can talk about with a head coach in the building that you can't troll about online, and it's all good. I enjoy doing it, and I think the coaches enjoyed the conversation. But now we have a new coach, and if you heard him today, he's different. He's all ball. There's no comedy session in his press conferences. There's no part of the press conference where he's going to break off and do stand-up comedy. Okay? There's no part of his conversations with the media where he's going to break out and have one-on-ones and be cute with reporters. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think he's doing it. I think that this guy wakes up every day, and I don't know him well, but I'll get to know him better. I think he wakes up every day thinking, oh, my God, every second matters. Not every minute, every second matters. There was a great question that was asked about, what did he learn in the offseason, who he leans on. I thought he was going to say his dad. And he said Rick Dennison and Mike McCoy, former head coach, and the other ones. So he's in constant contact with his coaches. But I also thought it was really cool that he stepped away and he said everybody be with their family, which I told you that's what happens. Be with your family. Be with your family. Get away. Charge the batteries and get away from football. Now, of course, these guys never get away from football. Never. But it sounds like everybody got away and they're recharged. And the practices. He also said everybody's good to go for practice tomorrow. He complimented the training staff, Alex Guerrero. That's been something around this team the last couple of years. They start camp in good shape. They've been very fortunate around here. with the training methods and what they have. They're in pretty good shape. Everybody's a full clear. Even mentioned McCoy. McCoy, who could be a starting cornerback by week 3 or 4, could be a starter for a decade, coming off a serious injury. He's getting early reps. And then they asked him about Max Crosby, about what's going on with Max Crosby, and he's good to go. Max is cleared. He's good to go tomorrow. He said they don't get into pads for 6 more days or 6 more practices. So when you think about that, there's going to be days. Don't you sense that he's really going to take these padded practices seriously? I mean, he's going to let these guys play. There's no reason why Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker, Kwity Paye need to be rested. They have one career. They're in the middle of it. They're playing football in Las Vegas in the heat. They're going to be ready to go. And will there be players that need to have a day off or two? Absolutely. No problem with load management. No problem with load management in the preseason. And then the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. JPJ. Everybody's so gossipy with JPJ. Everybody wants to gossip about JPJ. Reporters, insiders. No one will leave this kid alone to go out there and be an animal and play like he did at Oregon. Does he have to compete? Is he going to get reps? Is he going to be with the 1s and 2s? Here we go again. We're all sitting around here gossiping about JPJ. Not me. I got nothing to gossip about. He's either going to play or not. Coaches are going to decide. But I can tell you what I learned about JPJ in that press conference. He better be consistent. He better be available. He better be great every day, because the coach said they got a lot of players out there competing who aren't tackles. Little bit of a clue. Do you hear that? The versatility of non-tackles to come in there and play. So I think that's going to be important to make this offensive line go. Can you imagine having the opportunity? I'm going to be very careful with what I say here, because I don't want to take it out of context. Can you imagine what it must have been like to play next to Jim Otto? Imagine what it was like to line up next to Jim Otto, like Gene Upshaw, knowing that you had the greatest center arguably of all time. Now, I'm not saying Tyler Linderbaum is the greatest center of all time. He might be the best center now in the entire league. Do you know how great it would be to make this team as the starter at left or right guard next to Tyler Linderbaum in his absolute prime, at his absolute menace, at his absolute most violent time in his career? Man, you don't want to lose that job. That's a pretty good job to have, man. That's like being a construction worker and you're working next to the foreman every day on the shift. So I'm telling you, this offensive line is legit. And Ashton Genty, man, run him up the middle. Just run him up the middle behind Linderbaum, man. Don't get that cute, but he can break outside. But to see what they're going to do with Washington and up the middle with Genty is going to be a lot of fun to see. A lot of fun to see as we open up the show. So the topic is relatively simple today. How have you changed coming into this preseason? Are you more angry? Are you less angry? Are you more optimistic? Are you pessimistic? How do you feel about this? I don't know. I don't read minds. As I said last night on my show when there was no one on hold at 10 at night, I'm not Oz the mentalist. I cannot read your mind, but I'm a very good listener. If you call me and tell me what you think, I'll listen to you and hear what you have to say. I'm optimistic, but I don't count anymore. I'm optimistic every year. I'm JT, let's go, let's win every game. That hasn't been, I don't regret it. I don't regret it. And you can't really pick on me too much because I don't predict wins and losses. So I didn't give you a 10-7 year or anything, so you can't throw darts at that. I just want to win every game. I want Raider fans to have a good time. I want Raider fans to tailgate, party after the game, have fun at the Torch. I don't want people to be miserable. And as we broke out 2 years ago, the misery index was very high around here. Very high around here the last couple of years. And life is too short to be miserable. That's the monologue. Brought to you by M Resort, where they're all there. They're there. M Resort is popping with Raider Nation. Popping as the official team hotel of the Silver and Black. Let's get out to Saul. He called in. I said I'd take calls if you call in. Hello, Saul. How are you?
Hey, JT. Good afternoon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
No, I just wanted to chime in, man. I watched the press conference, and, man, I'm just so eager to get out there to training camp practice and see what the product is. I just wanted to comment and say, man, I'm all in, man. I'm 51 years old. I've been a Raider fan, pretty much since a teenager, growing up in Southern California. I got my Dodgers, I got my Lakers, but it's a special thing with the Raiders, And when the Raiders first came here, I couldn't believe it. It was like a dream, and then, being able to be PSL holder now, it's even more special, I just can't believe it. It's like I'm living. That's my favorite team. I know how you are with your Knicks. The Raiders are my Knicks, to me. And it's just, it's just time. This coach, seeing him talk, looking at him, and just, just seeing that we finally got the coach that everybody wanted. We finally got some players. We finally are on the upside, and now it's time for the Raiders, our Raiders, to come through for us and just start getting this together. And I'm all in, man. To answer your question, I'm pumped. I'll be out there for maybe 3 of the practices so far, and just as many as more I can get to. And I'm ready for the season to start. And I feel this is going to be our season, man. I feel like, I know we say all the time as Raider fans, but this is different. I mean, you can ask anybody, even people that are not Raider fans. It's going to be different.
So where are you? Where are you from? Where are you from, Saul? You going to practice? Are you from Vegas or out of state?
Oh no, I'm from Vegas now. I've been here since 2004. Yeah,
good.
I'm Las Vegas. I've been here for
good. So we're doing the show live from Grimaldi's on Friday by the Raiders. Come on out, noon to 2. Have some pizza. If you can get away for a little bit, pop on over. We'll be there noon to 2 Friday. Grimaldi's on Eastern. Invite your friends. Come on out. I'd love to meet you.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you there. Look, at least I know I got one people coming to my remote, one person. It's the one. When you ever have a remote, I used to care. I used to do remotes in front of thousands of people, not hundreds, thousands. We did Raider rallies where I was doing a radio show off the stage, and now, you get a couple people to come to your remote, have some pizza, you feel good. That's all right. We're having a pizza party Friday at Grimaldi's. We'll have nice pizza. The best pizza I've ever had, and they'll be pouring ice-cold Modelo. And I will have it. I've been tenured in. I'm allowed to have a beer during the remote. Not in the Raiders headquarters, not here. But when I'm at Grimaldi's, I won't be sneaking it. I will have an ice-cold beer. Maybe my wife will even drive. Maybe I'll have more than one. Maybe I'll have after the show, I'll have a couple of more. Big weekend brewing. Akadaka, AC/DC. Woo! AC/DC. Oh, AC/DC at Allegiant Stadium. Are you kidding me? For those about to rock, fire. The cannons go off. We salute you. Yeah. Put on your black and go to see AC/DC as we open up the show. Alex Eschelman, one of our insiders, will join us coming up. Also, Jarrett Bailey. Now, we got a lot happening today. It's the first day of school. It's the first day of camp with the veterans reporting. Practices tomorrow, 7:30 in deep Henderson. And we'll report back tomorrow on what we saw.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by The Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
They run it again with Genty, patient behind the line. Bounces out to the left at the 40, into the secondary 30. Nobody's going to catch him. Down the middle of the field, Genty at the 5. Touchdown, Raiders! Deuces, goodbye for the second time in the ballgame. This one from 51 yards. And with 5:24 to go, the Raiders on the back of the 6th overall pick. Not done yet.
Yes, Jason Horowitz on the call. We are brought to you by The Black Hole. By now you know they're having the biggest kickoff party in the history of the Raiders. No one has attempted to do what they will do at the Palms with Warren G and Too Short. Become a member of the Black Hole so you could be there and get all the notifications. That will be the Raider Party of the Year. the home kickoff weekend. That's all we're talking about with the Black Hole. Alex Eschelman joins us, our Raider insider, and she was there. I could hear your voice in the background today, Alex, if I got that right. Welcome to the first day of school. How is it to start football for you?
JT, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show as always. And it really doesn't get old. It feels like we're all kind of going back to school. And growing up, you know, being a fan of football, being a part of a family who was super into sports, and I was a cheerleader, of course, you know that, throughout, you know, Pop Warner High School, college. This is my favorite time of year. Like, from here on out, the fall was always my favorite, purely because of football and football season. So you could really feel that energy inside Raiders HQ today, talking with head coach Klint Kubiak. And I asked him what his favorite part. I know you heard my voice on the live stream there, what his favorite part about training camp is. And he responded, he kind of thought about it, he laughed, and he said, you know, you spend 11 hours a day with these guys. That's how much the National Football League allows you to spend with these guys during training camp per day. This isn't about wins or losses coming into work every day. It's about building those relationships, and that's what you love about this time as a coach. So it was cool to see him kind of light up about training camp ahead of tomorrow.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I'm happy you brought that up because this is unique to me. With all my years with the team, I never remember a 7:30 start, and we all know that they have to get there way before 7:30. So as you talk about that 11-hour league union requirement, that's an early day that's going to end early for some of them, even though they'll have assignments going home and going back to their rooms, which used to be dorms. Now they're rooms at the hotel, but they get them early, which means we're going to be out there early, and that changes everything when you take a look at a 24-hour day and news cycle. Yeah, no, it does. And Kubiak touched on that quite a bit in the presser today as well. He said, you know, the setback is that you don't necessarily get to meet with the team prior to the start of practice. But, of course, obviously you're beating the heat when you start at 7:30. So there's a number of positives there for them, too. And I was able to ask Kubiak about, you know, even though you're not able to meet early in the day, first thing before practice, how do you combat that? And, you know, it sounds like they've got it dialed in, and to no surprise, but he said that's kind of something that we've rescheduled to the afternoon before they go home. So it'll be interesting to see kind of the layout in which they do everything within that 11-hour day. But as you know, JT, you've been covering training camps and Raiders seasons for a much longer time than I have. And you know that there's a lot more that goes into that 11-hour day than just practice and meetings, right? Yeah, and I think you get it because you've been covering the team now for a few years. When you see what they're doing, does it just feel like this is going to be really meticulous and really tied to the clock? I'm just getting Kubiak's body language from interviewing him a few times that he's all ball, and I have a feeling he's going to be a stickler to the clock, the second, not the minute, and they're going to be very efficient at 7:30 in the morning to beat the heat. There's going to be no joking around. Everything from the water breaks to when they talk, when they get back to a drill, they run a play over again because of a mistake. I think this thing could be as buttoned up as I've ever seen it. I'm hoping it is. Yeah, I agree, JT, and I couldn't agree with you more as well on, yeah, he's a football guy. He's going to answer football-related questions in football pretty much only. And, you know, you got to respect that. He knows what he's walking into. Not only is this his first time being a head coach in the NFL, but he also knows that he's trying to turn a prestigious blue blood organization in the Raiders around as well. So there's a lot of pressure on him, and he realizes what's at stake. And it'll be interesting to see how buttoned up and how serious it is. I mean, we saw that throughout OTAs as well. There wasn't a lot of hype, and you know, you don't want to compare to the previous seasons, but that's kind of all we have to go off of at this point. This time a year ago, you'd see Pete Carroll and his whole staff hyping the guys up for, it felt like 5 minutes, you know, prior to
really getting going with practice, and you didn't really see too much of that. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but they got right to work with Kubiak in OTAs. So yeah. I assume it's going to be the same there for training camp.
We're wrapping it up with Alex Eschelman. So finally, everybody's cleared to practice, which is nice. Most teams in football can't say that. There's someone coming off an ACL. There's someone coming off an Achilles. There's something happening, or maybe someone's not signed. I mean, that was great when he talked about McCoy and Max being full clears, ready to go. But I think there'll be some load management, obviously, with McCoy, who didn't play last year. And then with Max, I'm not going to speak for Max because he'll call me if he hears this. But for Max, I think you got to hold Max back a little bit at times because he's just a wrecking ball. He wrecks every practice, and I think Max, as he's getting older and mature, and he's always been a guy who loves football, maybe Max is not playing at the level that he's just going 130 every day because they kind of want to keep him fresher than in years past where at the end of the year there was some slight injuries that shut him down.
Yeah, totally. And I think the same kind of goes for McCoy, too. You can only imagine how badly the guy wants to compete and practice and go full all in with the fact that he hasn't been able to play for pretty much a year. So I think there's going to be a lot of competition, and that's what Kubiak touched on, not only from Crosby bringing his best, McCoy bringing his best. He talked about the offensive line and how it's important to see, it's not about the guy that's necessarily the best, but it's about the guy who's going to be the best fit to work with five guys. Mm-hmm. So that's on top of the seriousness that I think we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of competition and a lot of intensity from every position group there.
Lastly, did you go fly fishing in Montana or to Santorini, Greece? Did you have a good getaway? Did you have a trip of a lifetime through Europe or Croatia? Did you get a little bit of downtime as much as you work?
JT, I actually did go fly fishing every year, and I think you know this, but every year I do a fly fishing trip with my sister and my dad. It's kind of an annual thing that we have done since I actually lived in Montana. So we've gone I think this was year 5, and we switched it up. I grew up in Sacramento, and we fished the Yuba River this time around. So I'm not going to brag too much, but I did have catch the biggest fish both days. And you can just remember that, JT.
I will remember that. I'll see you out at practice tomorrow very early. Thank you.
I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Take care. There she is, everybody. Alex Eschelman. We added her, and she's been great. She covers the team. She asks questions. She's the eyes and ears that I don't have the days I'm not there, and we're doing 6 hours of radio like today. We call on her. She asked a couple of questions. Q Myers asked multiple questions. You'll hear Q coming up after this show, and a nice start. Well, Alex is actually our first guest of football season, if you want to put that down. She is the voice on the record to kick off the season because the season starts today. We are not the show of the practice squad. We are the show of the regular season, the playoffs, and the Super Bowl. But this year it's different. We have Fernando, right? Everything changes with Fernando. So the way I look at the preseason games, preseason hype, I'm always hyped. This is just a little bit different because we have Fernando Mendoza, and it's got to work. I've been on 2 radio shows this week. Ooh, that's starting to happen. People are calling me to come on shows. I'm like, really? Okay, now? Why? Fernando. So these are the people that call me during the regular season on a Wednesday and say, can you come on at 10? And I'm like, yeah. And they'll be like, okay, 10 to 10:10. And then I'm on with them at 10:18. And I'm like, ooh, I got a life too. But I enjoy that. It's free. You don't get paid to go on those shows. And this year, people are calling me on Fernando. And I say, I can't tell you much. She's not the starter. And Klint Kubiak made it clear today, and Ian Rappaport just put it out, that the starter is Kirk Cousins. Ian Rappaport, 45 minutes ago, Raiders coach Klint Kubiak, quote, when we go out to practice tomorrow, Kirk Cousins is the starting quarterback. He's the guy, and he deserves it because he's played really good football. Wow, what a great statement. That's it. Everybody else be quiet. The coach just spoke. He told you no more questions. No more questions. It's the preseason. Kirk Cousins is the starter. But we're the sports talk station, and we got to do talk. And sports talk means, when do you want to put this guy in the game? And we don't want to do that anytime soon. I am fascinated on when he's going to play, Connor, in the preseason. Because you got Aiden O'Connell, who's good. He's good. Aiden O'Connell should be the starter for the Jets or Arizona. He's better than Jacoby Brissett. He's better than Geno Smith. And I understand why Geno played over Aiden last year, Pete Carroll. But do you want to see Mendoza take the first snaps of the preseason against Arizona, or do you expect it to be Cousins to come in with the first team as we kick it off at home?
Yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't want to see more than a drive from Kirk Cousins. I kind of know what we're getting out of him. We've seen what he can do in a Kubiak offense. He's an experienced vet, so we know what he can do as far as the regular season goes. And he's had a history of some injuries, so protect him where you can. I want to get Fernando Mendoza out there as much as you can, whether it's him and Aiden O'Connell. Maybe it's a first half, second half kind of a deal. But yeah, I want to see Fernando out there and see what he looks like while the bullets are flying and going against other live guys.
I'm going to push back with you on that a little bit. I'm going to push back because Cousins is at the end of his career. He's at the very end of his career. I mean, at the end of his career, and still productive. I'm not worried about injuries, and I'm not jinxing anybody, but we don't have to bubble wrap Cousins. If he's going to be the starter for Miami, I want to see some reps with Linderbaum. I want to see some reps with Jalen Naylor. I want to see the deep ball to Trey Tucker. I want to see the comeback button hook to Brock Bowers 11 yards. I want to see that because we need him to win. He's got to win. But it's going to be fascinating. I expect everybody to have strong opinions on that. 702-365-9200 as we get back to the phones. Ken from San Jose, if you're still there. Ken, go ahead.
Yes. Hey, GT, nice talking to you.
Yep.
I am so positive. I'm a diehard Raider fan. 63 years old. I've been a Raider fan since I was 13, so for 50 years. I raised my kids to be diehard Raider fans. They're all in their 30s. Last time the Raiders won a Super Bowl, I was 21, and they had won 3 by the time I was 21. So I can't wait till we get back. I feel so positive. Getting our franchise quarterback, getting a new, looks like a great coaching staff, and seems like we're really building something. I have season tickets in Vegas. I live in San Jose. I was going to retire in 2030, but unfortunately in February I went to work, punched in. 3 minutes later I dropped dead of cardiac arrest. My heart stopped for 8 to 10 minutes before luckily I work at a hospital, so nurses responded and brought me back, and I was in the hospital for a few weeks, sick for a while and stuff, and good thing is I'm officially retired, and going to spend my going to every game this year because the last few years working, I could only go to a few games and everything. But I'm just so positive, and I feel like I'm still here because I want to see my Raiders with my kids win, and I'm going to everything. I'm going to Crab Fest in October. I just bought a table for 10. Even as expensive, but this year is going to be I'm here. I feel like I'm still here, and my Raiders. I've had a lot of medical issues my whole life, but one thing sports, the Raiders, man. Every year it's a new start, and that's why I'm always so positive. My Raiders have put me through the ups and downs, my 2 divorces, everything, whatever. But anyways, no, I'm so positive, and I can't wait to see the team. I'm going to be there at every game.
Man, you got a lot to live for, man. You almost died. You're living your life to the fullest. That is fantastic. I can't wait to see more of you. I'll be at the Crab Feed. I'm at the Torch when you're at the game. Nice. Come say hi. But we need more people like you who put your life into this. And these are the best years of your life. You survived something really serious, and you want to get after it. Good job.
Hey, buddy, and I'm going to see you Friday. And Saturday, because I'm going up Saturday to see AC/DC. That's on my bucket list. I've never seen AC/DC, and so I'm trying to do everything, because you never know.
You never know.
Life's not given, so. But I can't wait to see you.
Okay, I'll see you then. I appreciate the call. We're late. I got to run. Yeah, I think I'm going to AC/DC. Connor, have any callers called in and invited me to their suite at AC/DC or invited me to go to the show?
Not quite yet.
No, that hasn't happened.
That was the closest one. You got close.
We got close, actually. No one's called me yet to invite me and bring me to AC/DC. What's the number again? 702-365-9200. You think I'm crazy? We used to do that, bring the brick to the ball game in San Francisco. I'd throw out the number, and guys would take me to the game, and I'd buy them a beer at the trolley in the outfield. So I'm always available to go to a concert. My wife would want you to be vetted first. Can't go with a woman or a lady, nor would I want to. But a drinking buddy? Yeah, you bring me to a concert, I buy the beer. I'll buy the beer, show you around. Yeah, I'll go to a concert with you. I got no problem with that. I love live music.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
The Raiders, I find, like, at least they're intriguing to an extent. I think Klint Kubiak's a good hire. Obviously, we'll see with Mendoza, but it looks like they're going to bring that on along slowly by starting Cousins. The additions that they made this year, I don't like how much money they gave Tyler Linderbaum, but, bringing in Nakobe Dean, keeping Max Crosby in that weird, trade that ended up not happening. We'll see with Ashton Genty. Brock Bowers is good. The only, the big glaring hole for them is they have no one to throw the football to. And defensively, there's still a lot of holes.
Yeah, JT, back with you. How excited. That's Jarrett Bailey. He joins us next. He just said he thought they overpaid for Tyler Linderbaum. I have no problem with that. You think we overpaid for Christian Wilkins? You think we overpaid for Jimmy Garoppolo? You think we overpaid for Gardner Minshew? I don't mind overpaying for Tyler Linderbaum. I could live with that very easily. I got no problem with that at all. No problem. That is very easy. Let's get to Locked On Raider. Appreciate you waiting. Thanks for being patient. Go ahead.
No problem. Thank you. So I just wanted to say how I feel as far as going into the season, our preseason. I feel like this team has the capability of being one of those teams that started from the bottom of last season and is able to jump, not necessarily to the top, but to be able to possibly get into the playoffs. I mean, majority of me saying that is coming from just me being a fan and, me going to be watching this season and enjoying it, but also the fact that we have Genty and Bowers and, this offensive line looks and sounds better than last year, and the defense looks and sounds better than last year. So I just feel like with Klint, if he's able to get these guys all on the same page and get everybody moving together, that, I feel like if Kirk Cousins is the quarterback, then that's great. I feel like Fernando, he should be able to go into training camp and, earn the right to be able to start. So you go into training camp, and if he's just lights out the starter, then you start him. Outside of that, you let him work to get that starting job. And he's the type of player who wants that and who will thrive off of that. And, just nothing but good will come out of that from him. Like, he's just shown that he's a hard worker and that he's willing to do anything to be good and get his team to the top of the mountain. So, and Kirk Cousins as well. He's a great quarterback, in his own, and he's able to get the job done. He's gone to the playoffs, and I feel like he has something to prove for himself after the Falcons thing. So I just feel like we're in a good place. Everything feels good, and why not us be that team this year to be able to take a good jump?
Yeah, I think the jump should be there. Thanks for the call. And I wouldn't say Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback. Great. No, I wouldn't say great. Great is Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford. Kirk Cousins is very good. So was Derek Carr. They were in the very good category. At times they played great, but overall they were very good. The problem everyone's going to have with the Raiders is the schedule. That's it. If the Raiders were given a last place schedule, which they should have been given a last place schedule, then I think the Raiders, you could talk about 9 or 10 wins with the improvement of the staff and the improvement of the players. A lot of people in the bent noses in Vegas have them at 5.5 or 6 because of the degree of difficulty of this monstrous schedule.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
You just get up every day and you take one step at a time and you keep going and you show up. We have a big mountain to climb, but we're not trying to do it all in one day.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's really important to me that we're a gritty team, that the way that they were back in the old days. It's nothing that we say, it's what we do on the field. All the little things that win that have nothing to do with scheme.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
JT back. Welcome. First day of school out here in Vegas. Veterans reported everyone is cleared to play tomorrow. Everyone is cleared to play. Optimism should be running rampant, as Klint Kubiak just spoke. We'll have his conversation in its entirety coming up at the bottom of the hour. Always a pleasure to welcome in Jarrett Bailey, an NFL insider, also covers the Steelers, does a great job for SB Nation. Jarrett, let's begin. I'm going to start with the Steelers, a team you're very familiar with. Their overall health, TJ Watt, the veterans. Overall, they got some older players on that team. And I guess this is the last ride for Aaron Rodgers, like it's the last ride for LeBron James. Should we all believe that this is it? One more season for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume this is probably it. He himself said that he went into 2025 with the mindset that was going to be his final year. But, he had a lot of fun last year. They had success last year and won the division. And then Mike McCarthy got hired as head coach. So things just kind of aligned for him to come back for one more year. Pittsburgh didn't really find themselves in the position with, a suitable starting quarterback for this year outside of Aaron. So everything just kind of lined up for both sides where it made sense to run it back one more time. And, for how he performed last year, I know a lot of people like to poo-poo on Aaron Rodgers, but, 24 touchdowns, 7 picks a year ago. They won the AFC North. There's understandable excitement for Pittsburgh this year, at least in terms of the fan base for what they could be getting in 2026.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, and especially in that division. It just seems like there's uncertainty in Baltimore after the Max Crosby debacle in trying to make that trade. And what are your sources telling you overall about Lamar Jackson? Because he doesn't have an agent. He's kind of a unique guy when it comes to the media. He's all in. He's a great athlete, still in the prime of his career. But do you think that could get a little bit shaky with Lamar in Baltimore this year?
I think it could, especially because, he's a guy who also wants a new deal and is in line for a new contract. But, for both sides, depending on how this year goes, they might, look at it as a situation where it's best to part ways. Because, you look at Lamar, how he played last year after he came back from the injury, wasn't nearly as mobile. And that really impacted how dynamic he could be, compared to, what he has looked like in the past when he is 100%. And, I think it would be unrealistic to expect him to replicate what he did, back in 2024 when he was MVP runner-up, or, any of the other times that he's won MVP. So, I think it's fair to say that we've seen the best of him. That's not to say that he's all of a sudden a bad quarterback, but, when you look at Baltimore's roster as a whole, there's not a whole lot there that truly scares you, at least not in my opinion. Lamar's great. Derrick Henry's coming off another big year. But defensively, Roquan Smith plays somewhat in decline, and he's getting older. Marlon Humphrey's older, and his play is in decline. At receiver, they don't have a lot there. So I think it's fair to question how good the Ravens will be this year. And, if they do miss the postseason again, do they decide to kind of start over themselves, move on from Lamar? Like, that's a sneaky storyline that could end up becoming a real thing depending on how they perform.
What's the storyline with the Jets and Aaron Glenn now, who has to save his job? I don't think you could save your job with Geno Smith. I just watched Pete Carroll lose his job pretty much for Geno Smith. He would not even sit Geno Smith when he was banged up and put in Aiden O'Connell. And a lot of people are like, wait, Geno can't even play, and he's hurt, and he's playing terribly. And I think Geno's going to play better for the Jets. I really do. I think the offensive line, the game plan is going to be a little bit better for Geno. But what do you think happens to the coach here if they don't get out of the gate 2-2 and the New York media is looking to make a change as they want to tank for Arch Manning?
Yeah, like he's in a real odd situation because like the pieces that they added this offseason on defense, like I like, they needed somebody with ball skills. They got a couple of those guys bringing in Minkah Fitzpatrick and Nashawn Wright. So, that should at least help them get an interception this season, which is something that they didn't do last year at all. So like I like the pieces that they've added. But offensively, yeah, I mean, we kind of know what Geno is. Yeah, I think he'll be better than last year as well, just because I think that the offensive staff the Jets have in place is much more competent than what the Raiders had a year ago. Garrett Wilson is still there. Breece Hall signs an extension, which surprised a lot of people. They drafted Omar Cooper early in the draft. I think the young talent that they've accumulated over the past 6 months, like that's something to be excited about, but there's also a pretty hard ceiling on how good they can be this season because of the quarterback. So in terms of what Glenn needs to do to save his job, like even if they do come out, say like 1-3, 2-4, whatever it is, if they look competitive and they're not being stomped into the ground and they're at least putting up a fight and showing resistance, then I think that he could hang around for a little bit. But if they're 1-5, 0-6, and both sides of the ball look bad, yeah, like he's going to have a very, very short leash.
I want to look out west here for the Rams. I think it's going to be fascinating. I never cared about a Rams camp. I mean, going back to Kurt Warner and The Greatest Show on Turf, when they came to L.A., and I think you're aware of this, they didn't move the needle for quite some time. And then Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, even their Super Bowl run where they lost to the Patriots, it didn't make a lot of noise in L.A. People were talking about LeBron. They were talking about USC. Obviously, not the Rams every day. I feel that's changing dramatically now. I think everyone around the country wants Rams content every day.
Yeah, I mean, when you add the best defensive player in football and, arguably one of the 3 best edge rushers of all time to a team that has the reigning MVP and has real Super Bowl aspirations, I mean, that is going to be a team that everybody wants to see on the field. And then you talk about the potential of Aaron Donald returning with that. Like, they are a very fun team in terms of the talent, in terms of the potential to somehow even get better. And, everybody enjoys watching them because Sean McVay, puts together really innovative game plans. And we're seeing that each week with, the talent that they have with Puka and Devontae Adams. The run game has gotten better over the last couple of years. So, they're a team that is, leading the charge in terms of constantly innovating and going for broke, when it comes to, hey, we're in win now mode every single year. And if it means we have to trade multiple first round picks for Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie in order to get back to the Super Bowl, that's what we'll do. So there's a refreshing aspect to them as an organization where they're not afraid to make big gambles. It's hard to call trading for 2 All-Pros gambles, but they're not afraid to, get rid of draft picks for proven players if it means that they'll be, near the top of the Super Bowl conversation, and they consistently do it. So that's a team that's, constantly making deep playoff runs, and when you do that, you're going to get more eyes on you, even in a crowded market of Los Angeles. So it took a little bit of time, but, they are a team that, around the NFL is looked at very, very high, and I expect nothing to change in that regard.
Jarrett Bailey's our guest as we wrap it up. Does it feel like Seattle's a sleeper team after winning the Super Bowl because of the Rams and Niners?
Maybe. I think a lot of people, whether it's fair or not, are kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with Sam Darnold still to see if he kind of has a Geno Smith type season too, where, he has a couple of resurgent seasons, but then kind of reverts back to being bad Sam Darnold. And then they lost Klint Kubiak, which we saw what losing Ben Johnson did for the Lions last year. I think it's fair to wonder if something similar will happen to the Seahawks this year, losing Klint Kubiak. But they have Mike McDonald as one of the, 5 best coaches in the NFL, really good defensive mind. But whenever you're playing in a very tough division, it's hard to repeat. And they had a phenomenal year last year where, just about everything went their way. I think expecting some regression is fair just because living up to that consecutive years is just very hard to do. Nobody would be shocked if they get back to the postseason, but me personally, I also won't be shocked if they're, the first team out once we get to January.
Let's end on Klint Kubiak. He spoke earlier today in Vegas. Man, he sounds like he's all ball. I mean, there is no nonsense with him. He's not looking to win the press conference with jokes and all that. Seems like this guy can't wait to get out on the field and figure out what the Raiders are going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders, they've gone through how many head coaches now over the past 6 years. So They went like the guru route with Josh McDaniels. We all know how that went. Before that, they brought back John Gruden, who was the big name, getting him out of the booth. We all know how that ended. So I think Klint is the perfect median for that, where we know how smart he is. We know how innovative he is. He's had offensive success everywhere that he's gone. So I think that this is exactly what the Raiders needed. And it could end up being, he could end up being their Ben Johnson hire, where, he has maybe not an exceptional first year in terms of what the Bears did last year, because I don't think that's a fair expectation to put on the Raiders. But, with the pieces that they have in Gentine, Bowers, it's fair to expect the offense to be better. We'll see if Mendoza ends up playing at all, or if it ends up being a redshirt year with Kirk Cousins going the entire way. But there's excitement for the Raiders, at least for the future, and that's something that they haven't really had true excitement for in a good while.
Thanks, Jarrett. We always look forward to talking to you. Thanks for the time again.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Jarrett Bailey joining us from SB Nation. Ended with the Raider question for the Raider fans who said it's got to be all Raiders. No, it doesn't. We want to hear football around the league. We want to hear everybody. We want to hear about all the teams. Raiders were a 3-win team. We're going to have a ton of Raiders. We want to hear about other teams. We will have national guests on the show every day to talk about the league, because we want to hear about the NFL and some of the teams that are going to be competing against the Raiders. So appreciate you being on hold during a guest. I'm aware who's there, Robert in Portland. We thank you for waiting. Robert, you're up next. Thanks for joining us. What's happening?
Yeah, JT, I got to hand it to you. Since the Super Bowl loss to Tampa Bay, you've watched these, the Raiders lose 252 games. That's regular season, and win 166.
Oh, you have my hold on. You have my personal record? No, I don't want to hear this. What did you say since the Super Bowl, where I did the post-game show at Jack Murphy Stadium? I got on the trolley to leave. What's their record been?
Prior to that, they were like 658 or something. And I don't even want to go there, but I just want to hand it to you. 252 losses since you and I walked out of Jack Murphy.
That's a lot.
During the 9/11 fiasco, when we stood in line to get in, I know you got in there a lot earlier than I did. You were listening to Santana. I got in about just in time when they were closing out. But, yeah, I watched this, and I just want to tell you, I think this is the year we're going to get at least turning in the right direction. I like that win a couple years ago in Seattle. Remember when we ran the ball down Seattle's throat and pulled that game out?
Yeah,
remember that game?
I do. I remember it well.
That's what. If guys stay healthy, because depth is everything, the rushing game is the key, because it'll help the defense, because you don't want to be on the field a lot like our defense is all the time. And I think the other key is the defense will get helped out. Against the Houston game last year, that was our best game of the year, I thought. We didn't win it, but that was a tough win down there. I mean, tough loss down there, and we gave them everything they wanted. And that's the kind of football I want to see, even though we got a tough schedule. If we finish 500 with this schedule, that'll be like a team in the NFC South winning 12 games.
Yeah, great phone call, man. Well thought out phone call as always. Robert in Portland, he talked about 200 and something losses I've seen. Ooh, I didn't want to hear that today, Connor. I still want to get a swim in today and do some things. That's a lot of losses. And I think I brought the same energy for every win and loss. The losses are tough. The losses are really, really hard. There's never been a time where the Raiders lost a game where I went on the post game where I wasn't pissed off. I mean, pissed off. Close loss, tight loss, overtime. And the wins, I always try to treat them as a party and a celebration. Well, I'm very proud of the team that I work with here and what we have lined up with our new partners. We welcome Steiner's Sports Pub to our team here. Steiner's Pub is one of the most recognized names in tavern groups for a long time. My friend Roger has a Nevada-style pub It's incredible. A gaming restaurant, some of the best bar food. Forget about bar food, best food you'll ever have when you go there. And I've been looking to do business with Steiners and Roger for quite some time because I respect the way he runs his brand. It is a great brand. If you go to a Aviators game, all you see is Steiners down the foul line and up there in the second deck and all the promotions that they do. They're unbelievable. So we are really excited about representing Steiners on this show. And I highly recommend everybody to go for lunch and dinner. It's that good. The breakfast on Sunday, one of the best. And they got a great happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. We really are excited about this. Go to Steinerspub.com. See all about it. Find a location near you. There's a few of them that I really love. Their promotions are great. And it's just a great place where people go to connect, and they're comfortable, and it's considered one of the best bars in town. And we have multiple bars, right? We have several bars here. But when I was thinking of Steiners, I said, man, this is perfect for our show because we know we're sending our listeners to an unbelievable great establishment. Thanks to Roger and his entire team over at Steiners. Great food. They welcome you every time you go in. And they're doing unbelievable promotions to ball games, ballparks, road trips, and all of that. 702-365-9200. Oliver is in Fairfield. Hello, Oliver.
Hey, what's up, JT? You know, I just want to talk about, like, training camp. You know, I remember you in Napa, George Atkinson, going up to the Napa Marriott. Yeah. You know, my kids were little at the time, the Rich Gannon teams, and it was just so awesome. One time I went to the Raiders alumni when they were there, and they were just all around the bar, you know, talking to them, and my kids were little taking pictures, and, you know, there were you always walking around working, and, you know, I just, you know, me being from the Bay, you know, lifelong Raider fan, is it worth the flight for me to go down there for training camp and go to the M Casino? Does it have that Raider vibe like Napa? And like
No,
you know,
it's not going to be Napa where the rolling hills of Napa are there. But it's what I think you'd like about that if you come down to practice here and you get a chance to come down. And have you seen the new building yet? Have you been down there?
Yeah, last time I went to Vegas, I bowled. Sometimes I go to tournaments over there, and then when the Super Bowl was in Vegas.
No, but my point is, have you been to World Headquarters? Have you been to the practice facility?
No, I didn't even know it was open to the public.
Yeah, it is open, but there's season ticket holders that have the priority, so you have to go through that. But I will say, if you haven't seen it, but you bring up a lot of good points, man. I miss Napa. I mean, Napa is expensive. You got to redo the fields. The gym is primitive. This gym here that they have the weight room is state of the art. The swimming pools, it's just much easier for the players. But was anything cooler than Napa to watch a practice in the morning and then go to a restaurant and a vineyard and come back for a late practice at night? I mean, that was a beautiful thing.
Yes, sir. And the interaction with the players, like right after, like I would go there, like. You know, I would take days off, take my kids over there, you know, seeing Gannon, Mr. Brown, and then like just the staff. You guys were so cordial. And, you know, I'm going to ask you my last question. So where do you feel like are the Raiders ever going to come back to Napa and give the Bay Area fans a little taste?
I don't know. I don't know. I appreciate your call. I don't know. I you know, we've heard rumors about Tahoe. Rumors about going back to Napa, and I keep that. I'm not in on those meetings, but I will tell you how expensive it is to do that. I know how expensive it was to go to Costa Mesa. That was really, really unique, but it wasn't great. The fields I didn't think were great. They were okay. It was okay, and the hotel we stayed at was brilliant, and we were really close to the beach, which was nice, but. You know, the Raiders are different now. They built this building in Henderson, which is like the Death Star. Everybody talks about Allegiant being the Death Star, where AC/DC's playing Saturday night. Headquarters is insane. So you want the players to be comfortable and have the best food, the best weights, the best nutrition, everything, the best meeting rooms. They're going to do it there. Just be thankful that we're not the Bengals and the Giants and the 49ers. How would you like to be a 49er and have to practice headquarters and training camp at Levi Stadium next to the Transformer Field? And then what? Do what? It's 45 minutes from San Francisco. And then the Bengals. I see on Hard Knocks the Bengals are throwing footballs outside their stadium. It's gross. And the Giants and the Jets. At least the Giants and the Jets would go to Hofstra. The Giants would go to Albany. Not great. And the Bills went to St. John's Fisher, right? But this is okay for the Raiders. It is what it is. All right, we got big news here with the Niners. Just came down. Listen to this. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan just spent some time describing the events of July 14th with the local media. He wanted to clarify up front that the accident was his fault. He took his eyes off the road briefly to find his phone, which fell between seats, and when he looked up, he had gone over the line and into an SUV. The California Highway Patrol database had a clerical error attributing the accident to the girl. Shanahan says that is not accurate. Wow. So a couple of things here. I take this story very seriously for a couple of reasons. I know John Lynch. We were at the same hotel for our honeymoons. We got married the same day. I've known John forever. I like John Lynch. Great player. Secondly, I know how tight Klint Kubiak is with Kyle Shanahan. And I work for Klint Kubiak, so I'm not making fun of car accidents. I don't do that. I think this is a very serious story. The story now becomes simply this. There's a car accident, he's lucky to be alive. Could have lost his eye. Chris Sims said could have lost his eye. For everybody looking for guilt, it seems like right here, he's admitting right now that was his deal. Okay? So he's taking ownership of this. What I think's happening from knowing so many people in the Bay Area is that people are now questioning Bay Area journalists. Let me make this clear. Not Bay Area sports talk hosts, which I am. I'm a Bay Area sports talk host. I've been on there forever. This show's on in the Bay Area right now. They're not questioning us. They're questioning the journalists, the writers who cover the team. When did they know? When did they not know? And as I tweeted out, God forbid, if Antonio Pierce was here as the head coach and he got into a head-on accident and Antonio Pierce broke ribs, had a concussion, broke his hand and got 40 stitches, and that happened in Vegas or in Henderson, it would have been on the noon, 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock news. This radio station and some journalists tied to this would have had the story hours after it happened. So what you have to ask yourself now is that why didn't the Bay Area journalists who cover the team not have this information the day it happened? You answer that for me. Talk to yourself in the car. Why wouldn't they have it, the people that cover the Niners who are journalists? Now, you could say, here are your choices. They never heard. Never heard. Some guy who's working for the San Jose Mercury News looked down, he didn't get a text, didn't find out. Okay, he's off the hook. What happens if someone knew about it the day it happened and held the story for 6 days? And he claims or she claims to be a journalist, withholding information about a serious car accident that could have caused the death of an NFL head coach, and someone held that information back? I'm not saying that happened, but that's what everybody's looking at now. Clean your phone out. Delete your text messages. Get ready, boys and girls, because they're not letting this go. You know who's not letting it go? Mike Florio, who's an attorney, and some of the other people that are looking to stir the pot. This guy, Tony Farmer, who's been covering the Diana Rossini story. Everybody's looking around going, wait a second. Who are my favorite Bay Area journalists? They all knew Kyle. They know John. They know Brock Purdy. Why didn't they put it out on Twitter? I don't know. It's not my beat. 702-365-9200 is the number if you want to get through. Hey, this is going to be fun. We're going to replay the coach. I can't wait to hear it. I heard it in the car. I'm going to hear it with my headset on. Klint Kubiak and what he had to say today. Man, all ball. Woo-hoo. All ball coming up. If you like football, You'll like this 10 minutes of content we have here. And we're going to get it for you. Some people you're familiar with ask good questions. Jump on in. JT in Vegas on the flagship of the Silver and Black.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
JT back with you Friday, Grimaldi's, Eastern. Grimaldi's on Eastern. Come on out, we're having a training camp pizza party. It's the best pizza I've ever had. Great food, salads, all that. We'll have a couple of guests. Levi Edwards will be there, maybe an alumni. We'll have some friends there. Love you to come out. I don't do many remotes, but we're going to do some more remotes this year because we have more partners almost than we've ever had, and they're requiring remotes. So a remote could be fun, especially when it's great pizza. Come see me. That will be this Friday at noon at Grimaldi's on Eastern. Just come. Come on in. Bring a couple buddies from work. Talk Raiders. We'll have some giveaways, some things that we always give away here. We got a great promotions department. We'll have the Summer of Fun coming up in a minute. Earlier today, Klint Kubiak, the new head coach of the Raiders, spoke to the media at team headquarters. Here's what he said.
All right, ready when you guys are.
How when you're putting together your training camp plan, specifically for Mendoza, how do you put together something definitive and knowing that you have to adjust during camp?
We get the off day, so it's good. We can reflect after 3 days, but we have a starting point on, where those reps want to be for the guys. We're really thoughtful about how many reps each guy's getting up against what defense. There's going to be times where it moves, and certain guys are with the 2, certain guys with the 3s. We'll get the second guy with the 1s. We have an early on plan, but it's always a moving target.
Klint, at the owners' meetings when we asked you about kind of your foundationals, you said you wanted to talk to the team before you told us. And first day of training camp, what is a foundational truth for every practice in building a regime for Klint Kubiak?
Yeah, team first approach is the number one thing that we're going to talk about. We talked about it all off season, but removing the word "I" from our verbiage as much as possible and thinking about the team, how we can make the team better, players, coaches, administrators, and just trying to keep the "I" out of the building as much as possible.
Over the season, before you left off for the offseason, you said that you could ruin the offseason in 40 days. With that being said, how much effort and emphasis have you noticed from your team coming back in? And also, what were some things that you believe you did for yourself personally that got you mentally prepared to come back in this building?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out tomorrow at practice, how those guys spent their time. Just left a conditioning test. Guys did a great job there, but, playing football is a whole lot different than running 60 yards. We'll find out who the most self-motivated people were. As far as myself, it was just very important for our entire coaching staff to go be with their families and recharge that way, because you're so much more excited to come back in the building and work your tail off, when you are recharged. So I left them alone. I'm sure everyone does their own little things in the off season. I'm always going back to watch what we did, watching our cut-ups, and just getting as familiar with the players as possible, so that come here, in about 12 practices, we're putting guys in the right position to make plays on game day.
How did the team come back as far as health-wise? Is everyone good to go for tomorrow's practice?
We are. Everyone's going to be practicing tomorrow. Yep.
What is the plan along those lines? I guess, what is the plan for Jamad McCoy in training camp and going forward?
Yeah, the plan is to get him reps early, see how he responds, in his recovery. It is a moving target with him. He's a guy that's worked extremely hard and has been dedicated to the program that we've put in front of him. But Jamad hasn't played football in a year, and we're aware of that. But he's ready to go practice tomorrow, and we're also going to be really smart with him and develop him the right way.
As far as Max Crosby for tomorrow, do you expect him to be a full participant, or is it going to be a situation you guys have to ease him in since he missed so much time in the spring? He's
going to get all the reps tomorrow with the 1s. he's ready to go. He's ready to practice. Again, as practice unfolds and we're watching our players, it's always a moving target. But as of right now, tomorrow's a pretty short work day, hour and 30 minutes. So we're expecting them to be ready to take all those reps.
What is one thing you have to perfect during training camp? Obviously, this whole season's a work in progress, but for you, by the end of training camp, what do you want to see just top notch?
It's just really important that come game one that our players are doing what they do best on game day. So identifying their strengths and putting them in position to make plays on game day. So we're not asking guys to do something that they can't do really well. So that's how we identify those strengths is really important to us as coaches.
Coach, no more Daniel Carlson. AJ said it was kind of fun to have rookies in camp. What has that looked like to you so far?
You mean just having as many rookies as we do have as part of the roster?
Kickers, like rookie kickers kind of hanging out.
Yeah, well, just having competition is always good at the snapper position, at the kicker position. Competition is great for the whole team. So look forward to watching those guys compete and making each other better.
As you prepared to enter your first training camp as a head coach, is there anybody that you leaned on or anybody that you took advice from in developing your plan?
The guys that we hired, we got a veteran staff, we got some mix of youth, but just being in constant contact with all of our coaches and making sure we're on the same page. But Mike McCoy as the assistant head coach, Joe DeCamillis, many years of experience, Rick Dennison, many years of experience. Those are guys that I lean on every day.
Your coaching style, you embrace the grind. You like that. How much are you looking forward to watching that battle for those two guard spots?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't get to even put pads on, I think, till the sixth practice. So we got a lot of work to do before then. But we have a lot of talented players at that position. They'll make the decision for us. So we're going to coach them up, and we also know that whoever started in week 1 doesn't mean that's the starter in week 17. So we're always developing and getting guys better throughout the entire training camp and throughout the whole season.
What are you looking for at those spots? How will they make that decision for you?
Just looking for consistency, looking for guys that are great teammates, that are obviously solid in pass protection, excellent in the run game, and guys that just help make the team better. The best athlete isn't the one that's going to win the job. It's the guy that plays the best with the other 5 around him. And then offensive line wise, unless you're playing tackle, you better be able to play multiple spots. So having versatile guys is very important.
Early to ask, but is there one person or position group who's won the offseason to you?
Is there a position group that has won the offseason? I just give a whole lot of credit to Alex Guerrero and AJ and our training staff. I thought, those guys do such a phenomenal job of putting our players' bodies in position to be successful and tracking data and just really taking it to the next level with the technology that we can to get the guys ready to go and challenge them. So the players' challenge is up ahead. I'm really impressed with our, the guys, the training staff and the weight staff.
How do you chart growth for Fernando over the next several weeks? What are you looking for? What do you want to measure?
Well, it's not just charting picks and completion percentage. It is, we've put a lot on his plate in this offseason. We expect a lot out of him as these practices start coming. So the thing that stands out to me is, he's going to have plenty of adversity like his teammates, and how does he deal with it? Does he make the same mistake twice? How quickly can he correct himself? When he does make a mistake, what's his attitude like? What's his demeanor like? Those are really important things for quarterbacks.
You mentioned, being able to watch a veteran quarterback and learn through osmosis. How valuable has Kirk Cousins been so far for Fernando early on?
Yeah, I would say his value as a player on our team is the most important thing. His leadership, his veteran presence, the way that he played in the spring was excellent. So we brought him here to play really good football, and obviously the mentorship that's a byproduct of that. That's the kind of guy that Kirk is. But Kirk knows, and Fernando knows, and Aiden knows, and Jacob knows that they're here to play great football, and that's our job as coaches to get them ready for the other stuff.
What are you hoping to see out of Jack Bech and Dante Thornton when training camp starts?
Just see him compete. There's a lot of competition in that receiver room. So let's just go play ball and may the best man win. Also knowing that those guys got to be able to play special teams for us and play them at a high level. So just like we talked about with the line, whoever's starting and getting more reps in week one, it's a long season and everyone's going to play. So we just need those guys to compete and make sure that they're available for all these practices so they can keep getting better.
For you, going into your first training camp as a head coach, what are your emotional likes and how you're feeling about being in this position and on a completely new role?
Just focusing. I mean, it's obviously that I'm in a new role, but it's a we thing. Our coaching staff is making sure that we're on our stuff so that we're the best versions of ourselves for these players, so we can be great teachers and give these guys the information they need to have and put them through the stresses that we believe they'll see in the game, so that the game is not as hard as practice. So it's just it's more about our staff working together with the scouts, with this training staff, and being on the same page for these players.
Outside of this building, obviously, being the number 1 overall pick, Fernando gets a lot of attention. But Cignetti said that what set him apart to him was his willingness to prepare before the game. Was that one of the things that really stood out to you as you went through the evaluation process, is that willingness to prepare? Again, he's not Tom, he's a rookie, but you heard the same things about Tom.
I think that's what you expect out of a quarterback. And just because someone says they work hard, there's totally different levels to that. And I would say in the evaluation process that he stood head and shoulders above others that I've been around. That doesn't guarantee you anything on Sunday. So it's a head start. Gives him a great chance to go have a heck of a practice, but it's really what he does on the field, which is what's going to decide his fate. And but the way that he prepares in a meeting room is what you want.
What is the benefit or the drawback of having to do early morning practices on the field before you do other work inside the building?
The benefit is being outside on the grass. That's the benefit. These players' bodies are Ferraris, and they perform better on the grass. The negative is not having a meeting before practice. That's the way I see it.
From a health standpoint, how important is that also with this heat? What other things are you doing to protect the players?
It's promoting, all the things away from the field is hydration and nutrition and sleep habits and the things that Ricky and our training staff are, showing these guys in team meetings. So we have a really great staff there, but it's it's just part of our team meetings every day is how do we take the best care of our body, and it starts with going to sleep early tonight so that they're ready to practice tomorrow.
Since you're not able to meet before practice due to how early you start practice, is there something that you guys do to supplement that?
Yeah, we do. We just, we use our afternoon walkthroughs to prepare for the next day's practice. We got, great technology, sending out the materials to guys' iPads, film, and scripts. Yes, there's quite a few things that we do, and then that's where players have to be self-motivated and go back to their hotel room and, instead of shooting the breeze, is getting down and studying their scripts on their iPad.
Coach, you've had a few months to call Las Vegas home, but have you and your family had the opportunity to really experience this community?
Yeah, we have really. Ever since I got here, it's been such an impressive place to be. I'm really proud to be a part of this community, and I'm really looking forward to working my tail off with our staff to earn a spot in this community. So I got a lot of work to do there.
Do you have a favorite part about training camp? Anything specific?
The thing that I love about football is teaching the players and building relationships. And when you're with the guys 11 hours a day is what the league gives you, you can't help but build great relationships. You can't hide from each other. Those are the things that you love about being a coach. So during training camp, there is no wins and losses. There's a lot less pressure that way for the players, but there is a lot of great time to get to know each other, and that's what stands out.
You've told us a couple of times leading up to this that your preference is to have a rookie watch a veteran quarterback. But do you categorize that as a competition? Is it Kirk as the starter with the other guys trying to catch him? Like, I guess, how do you categorize that?
Yeah. For every position, there's got to be competition, right? The best player has to play. And that's not just what I'm going to see. You guys are going to see it in the preseason games. We as coaches, we're going to see who the best guard is, okay, best quarterback across the board. There's battles everywhere on the roster. So it's important for me to be fair to the players is to put the best player out there. When we go out to practice tomorrow, Kirk Cousins is the starting quarterback. He's the guy. And he's going to get a ton of reps. And he deserves them because he's played really good football. But I want Fernando and I want Aiden to push him.
Good. Well said. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
So that was really good. And look, that's his first ever press conference as the coach during the season. The season started today. The preseason starts today. This is the first day. That's his first ever press conference. When he was in a suit and he got introduced and he was speaking when Fernando was there, that's a different type of press conference. This is him in front of the media for his first ever State of the Union, as I call it. And Q's coming up next. He was there. I'm sure he's going to talk about his body language and how stealthy he is and what's it like when he's working that room. Because that's a different presser than I've heard in quite some time. And I've heard many. That's different. And I think a lot of fans are going to embrace that. All right, Connor, the summer of fun. We need to get in real quickly for the text people out there and everybody else who wants to win. What do we got?
Yeah, we got a good fun trip going on this week. This one's going down for the Grand Canyon National Park and the Sedona. So it's a little two-part here. You get to trip up to Grand Canyon and you get to stay in Sedona. Beautiful red rocks there. Lots to do. Lots of nice wine tasting, food, a lot of things to do for family, friends. If you get the chance to go out there, it's a beautiful place to be. And this time of year, it is not as hot as you might think. It's going to be more of like that 80s, 90s.
Yeah,
it's good to escape. So I'm a big fan. But some people, they just need the cash, and you have a chance to win $3,000, and you can get that too. But what you need to do is to text me right now at 702-365-9200, the word of the day. This is going to be the color white. Text me the word white to 702-365-9200 for your chance at the Grand Canyon Sedona trip or the $3,000 cash.
Yep, that's where we're at. Please text in now. We'll come back on the other side. We'll wrap it up. We'll tell you about what we have lined up tomorrow. I'm excited to get out to practice. 7:30 in the morning. Ooh. I don't live in deep Henderson, man. I live on the mean streets of Summerlin. I might need a police escort tomorrow, man. I may need like 3 patrol cars to get me on the 215, get me off at the M. Can anybody help with that tomorrow?
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
The issue is he's under contract to the Rams at $30 million right now. He's under contract for $30 million. I didn't realize that. Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. So if Aaron Donald said today, Sean McVay, I am ready to come play, the Rams' reaction to that would be, awesome. Let's go figure out how we want to work this contract now. It'll be a reworked deal. And Aaron Donald can say, well, you owe me $30 million. And they could say, well, you haven't played football in 2 years. Are we getting $30 million a year Aaron Donald, or are we getting what Aaron Donald? And Aaron Donald might say, yeah, I ain't coming back for that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Adam Schefter on Aaron Donald. I think he's in better shape than the entire league. The entire league. And he didn't play. He's proven it on his videos. Now, you might say, well, that's gym shape, that's weightlifting shape, not football shape. Stop. He's in better shape than anybody in the league. He's an animal. He's the Incredible Hulk. He lifts weights. He throws around 150-pound dumbbells like they're pencils. He'll be fine. The last thing this league wants is Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett joining up together. I can promise you that. But he'll play. He'll play, and I don't know how many games he's going to play, but he'll play most of the year. Nice job, Connor, today. Thanks to Alex Eschelman, Jarrett Bailey. Mad Dog tonight, 6 p.m. to 10. Gilligan's Island was on a 3-hour tour. That's a 4-hour tour. And then tomorrow, early over at the Raiders headquarters for practice. Looking forward to seeing what that looks like. And first day of school started today, but we started ahead of time because this radio station's always covering the Raiders for you. Always check out Q, as you always do. He's next, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.